Good afternoon, all of you. So today is my fifth class for research and publication ethics. So in the beginning, we'll just see what are the things we have covered in the previous four classes. This is my fifth class. Next class onwards, Dr. Atindra will be taking research methodology portion. Good afternoon, all of you. So today is my fifth class. So we'll just see what are the things we have covered during last four classes. And from next class onwards, Dr. Atindra will be taking research methodology part. And afterwards, again, I'll continue with the ethics part. So in the previous class, we have discussed about publication ethics as well as research ethics. So in the publication ethics part, we have covered, these are the various parts which we have covered, like honesty we have to maintain during publications, fairness, confidentiality, plagiarism, conflict of interest we have also discussed, and various collaborative research whenever we are carrying out with different laboratories. What are the things has to be taken care? Those things we have listed, and also if during our publication some mistakes has been pointed out, so with what are the ways to correct it and report it? Those things we had discussed in the publication ethics part, and then we had discussed about the research ethics part. So research ethics part, we have discussed that the main guiding principles are autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, and justice. And then we had discussed that during the actual research, there are various steps involved. So from selection of the topic to the designing of the research program, from literature survey, actual data collection, experiments, data analysis, interpretation, report writing, everything. Every step is involved during a particular research program. And we have to take care that ethical standard has to be maintained during all stages of the research. So these things we have covered during ethics in research. Then we were discussing about various case studies in which ethical standard has been compromised. So in the previous class, we had discussed about few examples, and from there we'll continue with few more examples, and we'll see that how in the research various ethical guidelines should be followed, and it has, due to some mistakes or certain things, there is a breach of ethical practice. So this is the case study 9. Up to case study 8 we had discussed. This is the title said co-authorship conflicts. So co-authorship conflict, the description shows that a postgraduate student discovers that the lab he or she once working for plans to publish research in which he or he played an integral part. She argues for co-authorship. Just somebody's going to chat. Yeah, thank you. This is about co-authorship conflicts. जैसा यहाँ पे बताया गया है कि एक पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट स्टूडेंट एक लैब में रिसर्च कर रहे थे, तो he or she has been working meticulously for the project, and he was an integral part of that project, and the lab wanted to publish that work without the student as a co-author, so the student argued for co-authorship. So the detailed case I have given here. I have given the name as AAA, is a postgraduate student who has been working on protein replication. So he was working on a biological lab. He or she has spent almost a year developing the methodology for this particular project. But the person was not getting well with the advisor or the supervisor or the research guide, you can say. Then the student decides to move to another lab with a new advisor and begin a new project. तो जैसे यहाँ पे लिखा गया है कि तो एक स्टूडेंट एक लैब में काम कर रहे थे, बायोलॉजिकल लैब में. सो ही हैज स्पेंड लगभग 1 साल उन्होंने अच्छे से काम किया था उसमें. तो एक डेवलपमेंट ऑफ मेथोडोलॉजी वहाँ पे किया था जिसके ऊपर काम. तो बट उसका जो गाइड के साथ थोड़ा सा ठीक नहीं था, तो इसीलिए उन्होंने लैब चेंज कर लिया और दूसरे एडवाइजर के साथ अपना काम स्टार्ट कर लिया. A few months later, the student finds out that the old lab is about to submit the paper to a journal on research conducted by a new graduate student using the methodology the same student developed. The student feels that he or she should be a co-author and raises the concern with the former advisor. His former advisor, his or her former advisor explains that the data being published are not from the previous student's project, but it is a new student's work. Therefore, the old student should not be a co-author. Then the old student brings this complaint to the chair of the department, arguing that her or his technique is not available in open literature. So whatever he has worked for a long, nearly 1 year, it is not available in open literature. So the data could not have been collected without her or his work in that particular lab. So this is the case study we were discussing. So the student was working earlier for almost one dedicated work the student has been carried out in that particular field and developed a methodology, but due to some conflict with the advisor or the research guide, he has to change the lab. But the work was almost complete. So, but after a certain time, the student came to know that the earlier advisor is going to publish the same thing with a new student, because in the student's place, a new student has been joined. So the old student felt that the data has to be his or her data, because he has worked and it is not available in open literature. So he has raised the question. But the advisor or the research guide denied that it is not the old students' work, but it is this new students' work. And they had gone for the publication with the new student. So here there are ethical misconduct has been happened. So here the keywords I have mentioned as authorship, mentor-trainee relationship, plagiarism, research misconduct. So जैसे हमने पिछले क्लासेस में डिस्कस किया था पब्लिकेशन और रिसर्च एथिक्स पार्ट में, so whenever a person is really contributed to the work, we should give the desired authorship to the persons who has really contributed for that particular research. But यहाँ पे जैसा हुआ है, एक स्टूडेंट के साथ वो गाइड का रिलेशनशिप अच्छा नहीं था, तो उसने चेंज कर दिया, पर वो गाइड ने दूसरे स्टूडेंट के साथ उसको पब्लिकेशन के लिए भेज रहे हैं. So this is definitely authorship misconduct, ethical misconduct has been happened. So there is a ethical problem between the mentor-trainee relationship, because mentor-trainee relationship, if it is proper, then this type of thing will not happen. And this also is a part of plagiarism, which can say, because this is the first student's work and they are publishing it with the new student. So this is definitely a case of plagiarism. And also research misconduct. Whenever we are doing research, we have to give respect to all the persons contributing towards the research, and we cannot publish the output with some other person's name just because we are not getting acquainted, getting along with the person. So this type of case study also can happen, and we have to avoid this type of ethical misconduct during all the research work. So this is about the co-authorship conflict. So we'll go to the next case study. Yeah. So next case study title shows that robbing the grave, investigator takes ownership of deceased scholar's work. So the description shows that a new faculty member replaces the deceased mentor of a graduate student and takes credit for a manuscript prepared by the deceased. The case study we'll just go through, and we'll see where are the ethical misconduct happened, and definitely we have to avoid if some ethical misconduct happened during any type of research. The case shows that given the name of the student is BB. So BB is a postgraduate student who, in collaboration with her or his mentor, has discovered a major environmental airborne toxin. So they were working on environmental field maybe, and they have discovered a new toxin, airborne toxin, which can have impact on the various environmental issues. The finding is very important and has been covered extensively by the popular media, and it has not only they have find out, and it has come to the public also that they have found out this particular toxin, and it can have a deep environmental impact. Unfortunately, the student's mentor unexpectedly expires or dies of a heart attack. The student and her or his mentor had been working on a paper or a manuscript before the mentor expired, and it was ready for submission. The student switched lab after the death of the mentor and began working with a new mentor on a project which is similar to the research area. The student's new mentor took the manuscript from the student, and the former mentor had whatever has been written, put the new senior's name as a senior author in the manuscript, removed the name of the former mentor who expired from the manuscript, and sent for publication. So this is also a serious case in which the investigator or the research guide expired due to heart attack. जैसे यहाँ पे हमने बात किया है, एक स्टूडेंट एक प्रोजेक्ट के ऊपर काम कर रहे थे, एंड उन्होंने अपने मेंटर के साथ मिलके एक एनवायरमेंटल एयरबोर्न टॉक्सिक डिस्कवर कर लिया था, एंड ये नॉट ओनली डिस्कवर कर दिया था, ये काफी मीडिया में भी आ चुका था, मींस दे वर वेल नोन फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर रिसर्च आउटपुट. बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली वो रिसर्च मेंटर का डेथ हो गया, तो सो द स्टूडेंट हैज टू जॉइन समबडी एल्स. So the new mentor, what he has done, he or she has done. So उन्होंने पुराना जो काम हुआ था उसके ऊपर ऑलमोस्ट जो मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट लिखा हो गया था, तो उसको उन्होंने ले लिया और अपने जो पुराना मेंटर था उनका नाम को निकाल के अपना नाम डाल दिया एज अ सीनियर ऑथर और द कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंग ऑथर, और उसको पब्लिकेशंस के लिए भेज दिया. So this is definitely a case of ethical misconduct, because here the keywords I have written: authorship, collaboration, mentor-trainee relationship, plagiarism, research misconduct, etc. So यहाँ पे क्या हुआ है कि जो एक जन का मैंने while research publication ethics, I have told that the persons who have contributed for a particular research should be the authors during a particular publications, and the persons who have not contributed toward the work should not be given the authorship. So in this particular case, the person expired, and the new person has taken over the particular research work. Research paper, I should not research work. He has not contributed toward the research work, as we can see from the paragraph. He has taken the manuscript and changed the old person's name and put his or her name as the corresponding author. So this is definitely not proper ethical as per the ethical conduct. So authorship is a questionable here, and collaboration also. The new person has not collaborated for the particular work and corresponding author. So this is definitely not proper ethical ways for the ethical conduct. So authorship is a questionable here, and collaboration also. The new person has not collaborated for the particular work and corresponding author. So this is definitely not Hello. Yeah, we'll continue. So here there is no collaboration also So the first student was working with the particular mentor, and the collaboration has been changed. But the authors were previous case was different, and the new new program where the student has been joined, the authors the collaborators are different. So in that case, the old collaborators should be given the proper value, not the new collaborators. And here also the mentor-trainee relationship is questionable, because whenever the student is switching the particular job, the student also has some responsibility that he should object that the previous guide's name should not be removed as easily, and a new person's name should not be kept like that. And this is also a case of plagiarism, as you can say, because the work is being published with a different name. And research misconduct also happened during this particular case, because during the research, proper credit should be given to all the persons contributing for the project, and unnecessarily or without just for the namesake, we should not give the credit to any other person. But here the second guide has been given the primary authorship. So this is also research misconduct. So this type of case also happened during various research programs. So we have to avoid this type of ethical misconduct. We'll go to the next case study. Yeah. So next case study, the title said that double jeopardy. So researcher's proposal gets rejected twice. The description is, a junior researcher's luck turns bad when a promising proposal gets rejected on grounds that it had been rejected by former review board. So the case details we'll see. Dr. D is a member of a grant review board for a large medical foundation, as well as a member of a grant review section for a reputed organization. During a meeting for a foundation review board, the board began deliberating over a grant proposal by junior scientists. Dr. D commented that they had received a proposal by the same junior scientist on a similar subject, which has been turned down before. Before Dr. D made this comment, the board seemed to be in favor of funding the proposal. After the comment by Dr. D, the tone of the discussion changed and the proposal did not receive funding. So here what happened? Junior research was trying for a new project, which is a promising project, and he has sent it for the funding. And in the funding, one senior person was there, and he was the member of the review of the particular project in the previous case also, because the junior scientist might have submitted the similar project for funding in the previous case, and Dr. D was a member of that, and during that previous case, the project was rejected. So without any proper evaluation of the project, in the second term, the Dr. G mentioned that this project has been rejected previously. So when a senior person is telling that this has been already been rejected, the board felt that this may not be suitable for the particular funding. So they have rejected the particular research program, which was quite promising in nature. So here the keywords for ethical misconduct, what has been happened, are funding and peer review. So whenever a proposal would have come for a grant of the funding, the board members should properly peer review the things without any bias by a member who has been knowing the background of that particular thing. But because they have not scrutinized that whether the particular proposal which has been previously submitted, whether that has been reviewed, revised with some modifications and all, they have not gone through the whole details of that particular research proposal. They have just listened to the senior member of that particular board, and they have decided that the proposal may not be suitable for funding. So this type of things should not happen during the research. Whenever we are reviewing such anything for funding or any manuscript for a reviewer, etc., we have to follow the ethical guidelines, which says that we should be unbiased during our judgment. So for funding as well as for publications things, we have to take care that we will not consider the previous history of that particular project or manuscript. So we'll see that whether the whatever has been submitted has merit or not. So in this particular case, they have not discussed about the what are the things are there in the project, whether this is a promising project or not. They have not discussed that whether whatever has been published or what has been submitted in the previous case, what Dr. D is mentioning, whether that has been reviewed and revised during this particular submission, or they have not done those things. So they have just listened to a senior member and taken the decision that the board member should not fund this particular research proposal. So there is definitely ethical bridge, we can say, during this particular funding proposal evaluation. So this type of things also should be avoided. We'll go to the next case study. So this case study shows, the title shows that favoritism in the editing room. So whenever a particular reviewer is getting some manuscript for review, they have to, or in the editorial board or something, they have to be unbiased. So here that has been occurred. So the description says that an editor gives a researcher who is a friend an unfair advantage in the competitive world of publishing. So the detailed case we'll discuss. A university faculty member or associate professor is part of an editorial board for a well-received journal in his or her area of research. She or he is sent a paper for review, realizing that the researchers is on the way of discovering an important peptide that a good friend of hers is also studying. So she calls this friend to see how his or her research is going on along. She or he doesn't mention the paper has been what the editor was reviewing, but does mention that the friend should hurry, as it would be shame if someone else completed the similar research before the friend could publish. She then encouraged the friend to send her findings in a shorter format very quickly, previously intended so that it could be published quickly. The associate professor, that is the editor, delays the review of the submitted material and returns the manuscript after 3 months, recommending acceptance with major modifications and additional experiments. So what happened here? One associate professor is also in the editorial board of a particular manuscript publishing journal. So the professor received work, and the professor knows that one of his or her friend is also working in the similar field. So the fellow felt that she should tell the friend to complete the work as soon as possible. Otherwise, this fellow who has submitted the particular work for publication will get all the importance, and the friend will not get the proper due on which they are working. So the associate professor or the editor told he has not told that he has received a manuscript for review. All those things we have not discussed. He has maintained little ethical principle here, but told that the friend should complete the research work as soon as possible and send whatever things they have for publications, so that it will come in the paper before anybody else publish their own things. So in between what the editor has done, so he has kept the review material for a very long period, that is more than nearly 3 months has a hold, and then told that it has to be undergone some major revisions and some additional experiments they have suggested, so that it will take quite longer time, and during this longer time the friend will publish his or her publication area and get the credit, and this new person will not get the credit. Somebody is waiting. So here I have written that keywords I have written conflict of interest, peer review, publishing. In all these areas, ethical guidelines were not followed properly, because whenever the editor is getting any manuscript for review, so conflict of interest should not be there. He or she should not be biased toward the friends who are working on the similar topic. And peer reviewing is a responsible job. It's a very ethical job. And during this peer reviewing, there should not be any bias for any friends should come to the picture. And during any publications or publishing, so ethical guidelines is a must. So there are definitely in this case, so we could understand that there has been breach of ethical guidelines. So we have discussed a few of the cases where ethical guidelines were not followed during various research as well as various publications. So from this we can tell that this type of things should not happen in any type of research. So these are the various case studies we have. I wanted to discuss. So next we'll discuss. There are many examples also there. I have mentioned that website on the previous pages. So you can also see that there are many other examples. So I find that these are quite relevant to any type of research, not only science, it can be on business, or it can be on historical research or any type of research. So the various actually, these particular things were mostly related to medical research, because medical research has its own additional responsibility towards the society. So I have taken this research. So you can go through the various case studies which are present in the internet also in good sources. So you can take the things and discuss that. What are the types of ethical misconduct happened during various types of research? So now we'll discuss that why such ethical misconduct happens during any type of research. So here I have mentioned that we can't do much about the bad person who is determined to do evil things. So if a research is oriented to do some bad things or with an evil intention, we cannot stop those things. But research ethics is not just, or even mostly, about bad people doing bad things. So research is not about normally about bad people who are intended to do bad things, but it's also about imperfect people doing imperfect things for variety of reasons. So most of those research, they want to do good things only, but there are some limitations during time or maybe money, maybe some name, fame, etc., which forces them to do some shortcuts by which there is a breach of ethical conduct during the particular research work or the publication. So I have listed out few of the things here. Socially acceptable practice we later deemed wrong. So during certain things, certain research, we feel that this type of things that we are doing from very long time. So we follow the same thing without understanding that during this practice, we are conducting some shortcut. Like I'm from chemistry background, so I'll just give an example that dissolution of particular material using this particular acid mixture. But the material, if it is slightly different, the acid mixture may not be suitable, and there may not be complete dissolution of that particular material. So with the change of the things, we have to change the solution, that whatever solvents or the acids we are taking for the dissolution. So but many people that हम लोग बहुत सालों से यही acid use करके इसी को हम dissolve कर रहे हैं. So this is not the case. Whenever certain modifications are there, the previous things we have to overcome and we have to adopt the new things. So socially acceptable are the previous things. We sometimes we carry forward, and sometimes after a long time we find that this is not correct. And also due to some accidents. So during the particular things, some slight accident may happen, and we don't want to report the things, so we just omit that particular part and go with the other whatever data we generate during a particular research work. And also misdemeanor level wrongs that we try to justify by taking shortcuts. So this means very small type of wrong thing we do during our research. Just for one example, I'll give. A person was doing a dissolution in a beaker or something, and during that, just for few minutes, he has gone out from the room, just keeping the things on the burner. And during that, some of the things has been bumped outside, so that he could not understand. And he thought that I just went for 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So if something happened, the results were not consistent, the researcher will tell that, no, I have not done anything wrong. I have just gone for 5 minutes. So the person will try to justify that I have not done a big mistake. So, but mistake is mistake. This small mistake or a big mistake, we have to accept that. If we have done some mistake, we have to accept and we have to repeat the things. Missing something, especially with new methods or technology. So whenever we are developing new methods or adopting new methods or various technology, we may miss some parts which are to be followed during a particular research. So if we are missing something, that also may be a reason for doing shortcuts. One can become involved in research ethics violation through the wrongs of others. So here we can tell that if a person has joined in a particular group who are working in a particular thing and they are not following the ethical guidelines, so it will be difficult for the new student, new researcher to tell that no, I have to follow all the things properly, because if the seniors are telling that you do like this, it will be difficult for the new students to tell that no, we have to follow everything correctly. But in principle, everybody's responsibility that we have to tell that we have to follow the things properly. So here, that's why I have mentioned that one can become involved in research ethics violations through wrongs of others. In the beginning, the researcher may not be associated with the ethics violation, but with the group of persons who are violating the things, and the new student or the new researcher can be also doing the same ethics violation. Sometimes the right thing to do just is not clear. So in certain cases, we do not get the what to do the things in a right manner. But because if we have given a job and we have to complete within a very short time, and we do not have time, and we do not have all the resources, and we have been told that you have to complete anyway the things in that particular stipulated time. So whatever resources are available, we try to do the things, and we do not know what is the exact right thing to do, whether to do or not in that particular time or not. So sometimes we feel that what is right is not clear. So in that case, sometimes we do which is not actually right. So this also leads to ethical misconduct, self-deception, and other psychological tendencies. And if you feel that no, what I am doing is not correct, it may be wrong, always this type of thing is there. And also psychological tendencies that if I'll do in this manner, there is going to have some problems during, so we should not do in that manner, we should modify the things like that. So this type of psychological tendencies also can lead to ethical misconduct in during various research. So these are the various reasons. So afterwards, again, I have given some of the things which forces various researchers to practice this ethical misconduct. Some of the things I have mentioned here are professional pressures. So whenever you are working in a particular organization, there is various professional pressures. So for a few of the things I have mentioned here, so first one I have mentioned, publish or perish. So whenever you are working in a research organization as a research student, so you have to publish your research output. But at the end of certain period, if you are not showing that you have certain publications in black and white, they will tell that your this project will not be extended. So whenever such things are there, you are in tremendous pressure. So you have to publish whatever data are available, or the person or the researcher may omit certain part, or which is being which is easier to publish, or take certain material from the others research field or some things and slightly modify the things. Like today, I was just going through the internet. I found one case study. I have not given here the thing because it was a little complicated biological experiment. What they have done, they have modified the figures already published. So they had there are certain figures has been published. So what they have done, they have slightly changed the aspect ratio of the figures, and also they have changed the some portion of that particular diagram. So it looks like it's not exactly same to the what has been published, but during the review they have found that this is the same figure which has already been published, and it has only slightly modified by the researcher to get the work published. So this is an example of publish or perish. So if there is a pressure that you have to publish, otherwise you will perish. So many people do such shortcut during the research work, which leads to ethical misconduct. And also when the tenure or the retaining of a job. So if I'll continue the same example, like a research program is for 4 years period. Normally for the HBNA students, it is for 4 years period. And after 3 years, it is obvious that we have to complete in the next 1 year. So in chemistry, rule is that every student has to publish at least 3 publications in international journals. So after 3 years, if the student feels that he has not published even one in an international journal, so he or she will be in a hurry to publish the things. So sometimes nowadays, many good papers also get rejected in various journals. They mention that you publish in this particular journal, which is normally a paid journal. So as we are in BRC or DA, normally we do not publish any of our research or output in that paid journal. Nowadays, BRC is in collaboration with certain journals. So BRC pays the money, but normally we do not pay any publication fees because sometimes the publication fees are quite high. So if some things are there, and if the tenure is about to complete, so the student will be in hurry to publish. So in that case, what the student will do, he or she will try to publish whatever the data he or she has in journals, so that within stipulated time, the student can complete the particular research program. But during that time, some ethical misconduct may happen. So next point is keeping up with peers. So whenever we discuss, we are in a group of peers that they are also publishing in good journals, or our colleagues are publishing in good journals, and our work is we are not able to take it to that height. So what to do? People feel that if we are putting unnecessary things like in the beginning, I told that some sophisticated instruments, things we add to glorify the things. So this type of things we do, and unnecessary things we add to glorify, and sometimes we exaggerate the things. Like one example I think I have given in the previous first class, I think it was on migratory birds. The example I'll tell once again. One of my known person was doing a research on migratory birds. So what the student was doing, she was going to a wetland in India where migratory birds is to come, and they have to count the numbers of different species of birds which come in a particular season. And they have found that good number of birds have come in that area, but the numbers were not significant for certain species. Like one particular species, she told that she has seen for only one bird of that species. Yeah, she has seen in that particular time. But the research guide was telling that you have seen one bird, that will not be sufficient for the publication. Let us put at least 8 or 10 numbers in that particular. And she was not agreeing. So, but that research guide was adamant that without putting 8 or 10 numbers, this will be just a number, and people will question that whether you have really seen that thing or not. So you want your paper to be published or not? So they were thinking that they will put the numbers, falsify the number, but the student didn't agree. But finally, the student has to leave that particular project. So this is a real example. I'm not. I'm telling from my friend's case actually. So this type of things happens. So keeping up with the peers, it is sometimes difficult. But if a person is really following the guidelines, then we can definitely avoid ethical misconduct. And next is the securing grants. So if like a research program, whenever we are a new researcher is going for a research grant, so sometimes they have to make the research proposal very fancy so that they will easily get the research grant. So what they will do, they will put the names of various new sophisticated instrument that this from this particular instrument will get generate data which will enhance the quality of the research. So they try to exaggerate the research proposal for getting the securing the various project grants. So this is also ethical misconduct. So whatever we want to do, clearly we have to tell the things, and this is the part of the grant agency also. They have to really understand that whether they are the research scientist is putting the proposal properly, or they are just exaggerating the things. Next is the being fast to discovery. So here also there is always a rat race between whenever we are in a particular developing a particular drug or particular toxin or various molecules. So there is a race to who is going to do it first. So if the person feels that I'm not able to complete the things and my similar for the persons researchers who are doing the similar work, they are going ahead of me. I admit, so they will do the various shortcut for publishing their work, and they should want to be the first for that particular discovery. So they do the shortcuts. So in that case, ethical misconducts happen. So these are the various types of professional pressures which leads to ethical misconduct during various research programs. All this encourage shortcuts and misdemeanors or various oaths. So what are moral foundations of research? Doing good for humans, animals, the planet, future generation, etc. by pursuit of truth and knowledge. In the beginning, first class, I told that research is about finding the knowledge or the search of knowledge. So during our research, we have to do good for all the things which are available. Our duty to respect various individuals who are involved during the particular research program. Our possible duties to animals. So in the animal ethics, we try to minimize the use of animals and we have to maximize the benefits to the extent possible and minimize the use of animals. So our possible duties we have to maintain for our, that should be one of our moral foundation, and also our obligation to the society, because whatever we are working, it should be applicable in our society. So there is definitely our obligation. So we have to do good for not only the humans, not only for us, not only for the animals, we have to do the good for the society also. So various obligations derived from these foundations together also are a part of moral foundations for research. So ethical guidelines stemming from research as a pursuit of truth. Here I have written the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. The truth means be honest about whatever research we are carrying out. The whole truth means omission of or parts of research findings might constitute research misconduct or violate the other moral norms. Nothing but the truth. It's also dishonest to put off one's results by adding irrelevant or misleading information or overstating their significance. So first is we have to be honest about our research. Whenever we are carrying out our research, we have to be honestly do the experiments. We have to plan the experiments, and whatever research output we get, we have to tell these are the research finding very clearly without any ambiguity. The whole truth means omission of parts of research findings. So I had given a case study in the previous class, that one person was about to get that he was going for a particular conference, and during that conference, he has to present about that particular molecule which they have FDA has been cleared. And during just before going, one of the new student had come for the idea that the particular drug might have some serious implications or the side effects. But if the researcher is putting this new findings along with it, so he or she felt that the research, that particular drug will be questionable. So he has omitted that particular part, and he has explained the previous part which has already been available or published, and for what he was getting the funding for going for the particular conference. So he has partly told the truth. He has not completely told truth. So whole truth we have to tell whenever we are carrying out any particular research. Nothing but the truth means we should not exaggerate any of our research to that unnecessarily glorifying things with ornamental things which are not exactly a part of research. We have to avoid this type of things, like putting the characterization of materials using of sophisticated technique. Nowadays, it's very common to put characterization using a very sophisticated technique that will add to the value of the paper page. That sometimes we feel that it is not required for that particular work. So if we feel that it is really not required, there is no need to spend time, money for that particular experiment. Without all of that also, we should be able to publish. And the research journal publication houses, they should also understand that this type of ornamental things should not be a part of research. If it is required for the research, it is definitely welcome. But it is just adding to the glory, just to glorify the particular the paper, it should be avoided. So to whom do we owe the truth and why? So whenever we are doing the research, normally we have to owe the things to the public, because we are mostly working for the funding, who are actually responsible for the funding support. So like government, whenever we are working on government organizations, we are working for the people, and it's a public funded thing. So we have to respect that thing. Individual research participants out of respect for their autonomy. So whenever we are including, I have many times told that whenever people are involved in a particular research, we have to respect them, respect their time, respect their morals, and individuals, where all the individuals who are involved in that, we have to respect their autonomy. Colleagues and collaborators whose research may be based on our research, because our research will lead to the research of our colleagues or the future generation, because research is finding the things, and whenever there is some things are there and there are some gap areas, the new person can work on that particular gap areas. So if we are not mentioning clearly the things, our colleagues or the collaborators, they will again spend their time and money for that particular things, and it will be loss of their money and their time. So the truth is for the colleagues and collaborators also, whose research may be based on our research. And funding institutions, because whenever we are working in various universities, there are various funding institutions who fund for that particular research project, and we have to utilize the funding properly during the particular research. So we have to tell the truth for the funding institutions for giving us the resources, and also research institution, organization, universities, our employers for employment resources, and because their reputation can be affected by what we do. So in the first class, I told that we are working in a reputed, very reputed organization like BRC, Department of Atomic Energy, or HBNI. So our things or misconduct should not hamper the name of our institutes. So we have to be truthful for that also. So clearly, many obligations of research stem from its nature as a pursuit of truth and knowledge. So we have to be truthful for all these things. So this much I wanted to share with you today. So we'll discuss the other things next class. Thank you.